The world of fandom is a wonderful place to be. Everyone is so understanding, so compassionate. We never disagree on anything. We love everything equally. There's nothing bad. There's nothing that goes wrong. We don't fight. We don't call each other names. Yeah. If you believe that, you're either brand new to your fandom, literally brand new, or you're a complete outsider who has no idea about the inner workings of fandom. With this series, I'm going to look at things that I believe and that I like that may not work for a lot of the fan community. Biggest example is what we're going to start with this video. Batman and Robin. Yes. Bat nipples, bad jokes, made for the toys, and what many people consider that ruined Batman. For me, I disagree with them. I mean, is it bad? Yeah. Are the ice puns kind of obnoxious? Sure. But everybody has their own feelings about movies. And for me, I like Batman and Robin. And I'm not ashamed to admit it. This is Defending 101. Today, Batman and Robin. Since its premiere, there has been a lot of negativity surrounding Joel Schumacher's Batman and Robin. And when I look at it, I can't necessarily disagree with a lot of the things. Whether it's the whole bat nipple thing, the terrible ice puns, what killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age! It just was not a well put together movie. But for me, I loved it when it came out. It was the first Batman movie that I had ever seen. So to me, characters like this version of Robin or this version of Batman were the ones I knew. I had nothing to compare them to. I hadn't seen Batman yet. I hadn't seen Batman Returns or Batman Forever. I mean, I'd read the comics, but as a young kid, you don't really appreciate what all comic books have to tell or what all they offer. You're just in it for the action, the superpowers, the cool stories. Now, of course, I see a lot more in comics than I did then. But when Batman and Robin came out, that was Batman and Robin to me. It was cool. The gadgets they had, whether it was ice skates on their feet, or all these different types of batarangs, or what I loved, the Batmobile. Heck, I'll even take the Robin cycle or that ice Batmobile version that George Clooney had later on. To me, this was the Batmobile. It wasn't real. It looked cool. It looked slick. It had power. It had missiles. This toy itself does too. So I loved the movie. I didn't see the negativity that I have since come to see a little bit or that everyone's talked about. Going back and watching it recently, I even looked. You really don't see the bat nipples except for one or two close-ups that last a split second. And of course, if you know they're there, you start to look for them. But to me, like I said, it was just fun. It was whimsical, as some people have said. Like, comparing it to the original Adam West and Burt Ward Batman and Robin. Was that serious? Was that in the style of Tim Burton's Batman or Christopher Nolan's Batman? No. But yet, we still have a very fond memory of it. So, I kind of have to wonder why we don't have the same views about Batman and Robin. Maybe because of the fact that we did get the Tim Burton movies, and so on. And while I will agree, like I've said, that there are many issues with this movie, there is plenty in it to love and, even to a certain extent, respect. I have never really understood where all the hate for Batman and Robin came from. Especially when you look back at the many, many, many years of Batman history. Whether it's movies, TV, cartoons, comics, there are so many different versions of Batman that why is there this one version that seems to be hated by so many people? I mean, you have the animated 90s version, which is very beloved. I love Batman Beyond. You've got Robert Pattinson going to play Batman soon. You've got Christian Bale. You've got Ben Affleck. All these actors and actresses, writers and cartoonists brought something different to the character. And like it or not, George Clooney and Chris O'Donnell did the exact same thing with Batman and Robin. But I want to talk about first my favorite villain in the comics, which is Mr. Freeze. And man, I know what people are saying right now. Mr. Freeze, how could you like Mr. Freeze? The Joker's the best. Or Mr. Freeze in Batman and Robin, if you say it's good, you're dumb. The portrayal of Mr. Freeze in Batman and Robin, I think, is actually much more accurate to the comic than people want to admit. All they see are the ice puns, the bad image, and that's it. But after rewatching it, you realize, no, it's actually pretty accurate to the comics. You have Nora Freeze, deathly ill, and her husband, Victor, freezes her until he can find a cure. Tragedy strikes, and he falls in a vat that makes it so he can't survive in sub-temperatures. That's the only way he will survive. He can't survive in normal conditions. Builds a suit that he needs to go out. He's got an ice gun. Now, people always do comment about the big giant ice gun and him stealing the diamonds for it. And yes, in most cases it would make sense to steal the diamonds, to get the chemicals, to help with the research, to bring your wife back to life, or to cure her. But in this case, you have to realize, he's not thinking straight. Not only is he stricken by how deeply he cares for Nora or how impactful this whole situation is, but I'm pretty sure that chemicals warped his mind, so he's not thinking clearly. So to me, that's just part of the character. That's just part of the syndrome that he's gotten because of what happened to him. So yeah, are there differences? Yeah. Is it a great portrayal of Mr. Freeze? No. But when you really think about it, it's not a bad one either. Then we move on to Pamela Isley, aka Poison Ivy, who I think Uma Thurman actually did a very good job of portraying in this movie. She has two distinct personalities that I could see. She has her Pamela persona that is a scientist. It's all about science to her. She wants to protect the earth. But you could also see that she's nervous. She's not quite sure what to do. She wants to be more active. And she does get more active when she sneaks into the lab for the first time. But you can see how scared she is. When she becomes Poison Ivy, fear has gone. She is a very sexual, very pretty lady who knows her power. She knows the influence she has on men now. She knows how to get what she wants, to protect the earth. And she's just a very confident lady. She might be deadly too, but that's not exactly the point here. And I think, like I said, Uma did a great job of bringing both these personalities out. And is it the exact same story as in the comics? I'm not 100% sure, but it's close enough even to the animated version that I'm fine with. It's a scientist who cares about the environment. Something happens, she gets these Mother Nature poison abilities that she kills men with. And that's all I really need. And I love the outfit. It works on her, and it works for this version of the character. Now, of course, we get to Bane. And I know what you're thinking. You are going to defend Bane? There's no way you can defend Bane. And you're right. Even I'll admit, Bane is the one character in this movie who you really, really have no relationship to when it comes to the comics. The closest thing to the comics is just the fact that he has the mask and he gets pumped with venom to become super strong. Other than that, he's just a brainless oaf henchman. And yes, I will say that is definitely one of the weakest elements for me when it comes to this movie. Finally, that brings us to the last of the new characters in this movie, Batgirl, who I like as a character. Now, I admit that I don't know if at the time I actually knew the story of Batgirl. I think at the most I knew the name was Barbara, but I didn't really know, oh, she's Commissioner Gordon's daughter, she goes to college. That type of stuff I wasn't aware of to my knowledge. But watching the movie again, I don't think that would have worked. Primarily because in the past 3 movies, we never established that Gordon even had a daughter. I just feel like it would have been too difficult. It would have been tricky to bring that all in. By having Barbara be a niece to Alfred, not only do you officially make her part of the Bat family, but there's a reason that she's there. There's a reason she becomes Batgirl. There's a reason she ends up in the Batcave. And there's a reason she becomes a part of the team. And I liked that about this movie. Now, is Barbara a great character? Was Alicia Silverstone great in the role? Honestly, no, not really. I mean, one of the points of this movie that I definitely do not like is the whole subplot when it comes to the biker racer scenes. To me, that just takes away from the reason I'm watching the movie. I feel like they could have done something else with that to make the same point. Having Barbara be Alfred's niece really brings everything that I believe this movie is about into perspective. Because when I saw this movie, and even to this day, for me, it's a movie about family. And it's all different types. Whether it's biological, even if that means an uncle and a niece. It's about a family you make for yourself. Whether that's Barbara and Dick and Bruce, or the family that you are forced into because of circumstance. That being Alfred and Bruce. Or the fact that they're a family. It's not about master and servant as it's revealed to Barbara later on in the movie. Then you also have family, husband and wife with Victor and Nora. And then, yes, you can even say that Ivy considers the earth to be her family. Her children are the plants, though that might be stretching a little bit more. Within this whole family dynamic, you also have the idea of brothers, kin, loyalty, and friendship. And that becomes very clear throughout this movie as you see Dick trying to go out and be his own hero. Or you see Bruce denying Dick things like cutting the power to his bicycle because he thinks Dick can't make the jump. There's so many moments in here where that idea is brought up. And ultimately, the big message when it comes to that is something Bruce says to Dick right before he's going to go out to Ivy. He says, "You remember what you told me? You have to trust your partner, and that's the only way you will win." I'm paraphrasing, definitely. But that is definitely one of the main themes of this movie, and that's something that I keep coming back to. One of the big elements of this movie, though, that I found really surprising after watching it again recently is just how big of a part I think Alfred has in this movie. The first three, yeah, Alfred was there, but it never really felt like he was a key player. Now, Batman Forever, yeah, he had a bigger role because he was a mentor in a way to Dick. But in this movie, he's front and center as one of the plots. With Alfred dying, it's up to Bruce and Dick and Barbara to find a way to help him, to cure this man that, for them, they've lived with, that they care about, their mentor. And I love how that not only brings the characters together, but how important that plot actually is to the movie. And when you look at the comics, you see just how big a part Alfred has played in them. He's in every single incarnation of Batman. There has not been a version where he has not somehow existed. With the exception, I will say, of Batman Beyond, but that's another story. And with this movie, they finally got the chance to bring him to the forefront and show just how important he not only is to the team, but to the family. He is the glue that holds and binds them together. If he had died, something else would have happened. They wouldn't have been able to stick together. Barbara definitely wouldn't have remained. Dick might have for a little bit, but I can almost guarantee you he wouldn't have stuck around either. There have been comic book stories about stuff like this, so definitely go check those ones out. The actual production of this film also, yeah, had a lot of faults, and people keep criticizing it. They definitely have done that with Schumacher a lot. But there are moments that really stand out. The moments they want you to really feel that something's not right about Alfred, or he's just very sick. They're giving you hints at stuff before they reveal it. The camera lingers on his face, and you just get this sense something is not right. I love that moment and just the feelings it gives you. And that's one of the reasons I said I think Alfred plays a bigger part in this movie than he does in any of the other ones. The opening logo, I like seeing the Robin sign and the Batman sign coming together to create the Batman and Robin logo. I like seeing them gear up. I think it's cool. Bat nibbles not included. The Batmobile rising to the surface, then the Red Wing cycle rising to the surface. As a kid, that's just cool. And I like it. The Surf's Up scene, when they bust the doors down of the rocket and they go surfing back down to catch Mr. Freeze. I like it. Is it cheesy? Yeah, and I know that. But there's so much more to movies, to comics, to these characters than one bad moment or a string of moments that might not work. For me, it's just fun. It's something I remember. And honestly, I'm happy that this movie was my first real introduction into the cinematic world of Batman. Because I have a feeling if it hadn't been, I definitely wouldn't have the same feelings I do now. I'd probably be making a video saying why I thought the movie sucked. But there you have it. What are your thoughts about Batman and Robin? I'm pretty sure a lot of them were probably negative. But if you really looked at it, what's something positive to you about this movie? I hope that you will watch it again and maybe this time look at it from a different point of view. Because I'll tell you what, I really do like Batman and Robin, and I'm not afraid to admit it. Until next time, enjoy what you love, read what you love. Let's all work for a better fandom. I'll talk to you later.